What's going on, folks? We are back for the Fighter Stonks check-in on my channel. I'm here with my guy, Clint McLean. Clint, how's it going, my friend?
Lock, buddy, it's going well. How are you doing today? I'm a little amped up, as you can tell.
Yeah, usually we're coming into this with a little bit of lower energy, but I'm glad that you are the one bringing the energy for us this week. Seems like my cam is a little bit smudged at this moment in time, but at least you can see my pretty face, which is great. Regardless, we are going into UFC Long Island this weekend, and just a reminder for you folks, it is an early card since it is on ABC, so 11 a.m. Eastern start time, 8 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're on the West Coast, like my man Clint likes to say, breakfast and mimosas and fights, if I'm not mistaken.
Mimosas and waffles. You butchered
mimosas
that.
and waffles, whatever, something along those lines, right? I got the mimosas part right. That's all that matters. Yeah, like we do normally on the off weeks from the Deadlock podcast, which is the podcast that me and Clint do on a bi-weekly basis on its own channel. Link to that podcast is in the description below. We like to take our favorite segment, which is Fighter Stonks, and which is actually presented by PredictionStrike, which perfectly goes hand in hand with what we are trying to accomplish with the segment. And we do the off weeks on my channel here, where we just do 10 to 15 minutes going into this upcoming card, seeing if there's any changes to what we want to do. For those of you that are not familiar with Fighter Stonks or PredictionStrike, it is pretty much a stock market for sports. You get all your favorite sports in there, including MMA, but also football, basketball, and baseball, where you can pretty much buy and sell players, fighters as stocks, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to pretty much bet on sports in a different way, right? We got our regular money line over unders that we normally bet on, or we go our DraftKings ways where we normally go that way as well. But PredictionStrike is probably one of the best ways to go about it in a new way, pretty much, right? So PredictionStrike is very much taken over right now. They have supported the show since the jump, so make sure you guys go let them know that we sent you guys by signing up with them using the promo code LOCK. You'll get a free Fighter Stonk with a deposit of $20 or more, and you can play Fighter Stonks along with me and Clint, because we got a lot that we're already invested in. We're about pretty much over a half year into this damn thing, and I'm very excited to show off what my portfolio currently looks like, and what moves I want to make going into it. So let me just quickly share my screen with you guys over here. And a couple of things have happened with the guys that I have on my portfolio. Obviously, Magomed Ankalaev has a main event, or sorry, a big fight coming up against Anthony Smith on the next pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of the month. Nasruddin Imavov just got a big fight announced with Joaquin Buckley in September in Paris. Manon Fiorot, I'm still wondering, and sketched out whether I should sell her stonk at this point in time, especially considering she's going up against Jessica Andrade. Since I purchased her, she's gone up about 26%. So I'm already getting a good enough return on her at this point in time. Song Yadong gets a big a main card spot, or a main event slot, I should say, in September. He's going up against Corey Sandhagen, biggest fight of his career to date, not to mention his first ever main event slot as well. He's gone up 17% since I purchased him. Very intriguing fight against Corey Sandhagen. I'm big on Sandhagen, so I'm intrigued whether the tape study will push me off of Song, take my profit, and get out of there, or if I think he actually ends up beating Corey Sandhagen, which is a possibility. Tufan and Chuki obviously still lingering a lot around there. Mike Malott, really looking forward to seeing what his future's like. Speaking of the future, Macy Barber obviously picked up a win recently over Jessica Ai. That's a big win for her there. Alexander Rakic is going to be on the shelf for a while. Nick Maximov, again, very tough outing against Andre Petrosky a couple months ago, but I'll still hold on to that guy there. Movsar Evloev, gotta believe he has a big fight on the horizon, especially after beating Dan Ige last time around. And then most recently, I purchased him last week in anticipation for this past UFC event, and he shits the bed. I am speaking of my guy Armin Petrosian. He's down about 16% since I purchased him, but I still think the guy can go out there, win some fights. So I'm just going to hold on to him, and hopefully he can get me some of that back. The one thing though, Clint, I just hope that he works on his goddamn takedown defense. His get ups, his submission defense, all phenomenal for a guy with a striking background, but he just cannot stop the takedowns. If he could have even stopped one in the second or third round against Bahayo, I felt like he would have deflated Bahayo and probably ended up putting together a combination to finish him, but he just could not even stop goddamn one takedown. So not too excited about that. But going into this upcoming UFC Long Island card, there is a spot that I want to take advantage of, and I just want to confirm whether you have or do not have this man, Sumadarji. You bought in on Sumadarji yet?
I do not have Sue.
Well, he is sitting at $2.16 at this point in time, and I think the kid
Wow.
has a bright future. The guy's a fun striking prospect, long rangy fighter out of China. He's going up against Matt Schnell this weekend, big favorite there, and I think
That's a
rightfully
spicy little
so.
price tag.
Yeah, I don't mind the price. I think the guy's going to go up. I think he has top 8 potential, at least top 7 potential. And for him to go out there and beat maybe the next 2 or 3 guys should it increase that price. And I think that I'll be able to sell him before he faces, more of a grappling threat, which is where I think ultimately could be his downfall. Matt Schnell, solid technical striker, but I think he's going to be at the wrath of the striking genius that is Sumadarji, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a little bit of that Sumadarji stonk here going into his fight against Matt Schnell this weekend. That will be pretty much it for me on Fighter Stonks, Clint. I am looking forward to seeing how many goddamn tabs you got open for this one so that we can see
you know
what
how
you're
I play the
looking at
game
it on.
block.
Lay it on me, my friend.
I like to rapid fire. Let's go. All right. So here is my stable of fighters. I got the man himself, Marab, sitting up top. I don't know why traveling to Greece or whatever has Jeff Molina losing some value there. It's quite upsetting. I have
Rome.
yin to
He's in
your
Italy.
yang on Jamal Hill. Cannot wait, Lock. I think we are going to get the head-to-head spot because Jiri's talking about running it back with Glover. There's going to be a bit of a train wreck at the top at 205. I think we're going to get Jamal versus Ankalaev at some point, so I'm very excited for that day. I know JSP has got some stuff coming up. Patty and Molly are both on my roster. They both have fights. Recently, David Onama got a nice little 30% pop on this kid since purchase. I believe just up this 8.81% in his last fight here. Obviously, a good little win here. So I'm very happy with the production here from my guy Onama. Hoping that continues to go the right direction. Kyle Brallo, I am confused. So I'm up 9.2%, but the man just won a 15-minute decision and the number dipped. I am so confused. I don't understand the stock market, Lock. This doesn't make sense to me. Since my initial investment.
Sorry, let's throw this out there, Clint. Let's throw this out there. What did you think of his performance?
I think people underrate Armin Petrosian. That's what I think.
Sorry, say that again.
I think people underestimate Armin Petrosian. I don't think it was anything Kaio did. I think he played it right. Armin's just a beast. People expected this kid to roll right on through him. Armin's a badass.
I agree with you, but the thing is, the public doesn't see it that way, right? So maybe they see, "Ooh, this guy looks like he was gassing out. This guy, if there was somebody in there that could have stopped a takedown, maybe Kyle would have been finished. So maybe I'm going to stop, maybe not be as big on this stock as I was prior to the fight, given some of the flaws that we saw in this fight. So maybe that could be what it is."
Maybe so, but I'm quite disappointed by this pump and dump, because if he was sitting at $1.26 like he should be right about now, I'd be feeling a whole hell of a lot better at this point. But it is what it is. I'm not selling him. We're hanging on to him. Next up, however, the Trayshawn Gore experiment has ended. Lock, I am going to head and take the L here, a nice little 23% downswing on this stock. I'll be honest with you. I've fought tooth and nail to defend this one, and the performance that he had, I fully stand by what I've said. Gore was winning that fight up until the moment that he lost it. Maybe he's got some future value down the line, but I actually think they need to give this kid a couple of regional scene fights. It doesn't get much lower than what he's doing in the UFC right now. He's here too quick. He's here too early. He needs to straighten out his mental game and let his head catch up to the physicality. Once he does that, maybe he'll be something, but I am not going to hang on to this stonk until I see him turn that around, because God forbid if he gets dropped by the UFC, I just don't need him taking up roster space for me. So we'll see what happens down the road with Tresean Gore, but I am getting rid of him at this point. Do you have Mr. Punahele Soriano
I
lock?
do not. And
Hmm.
interesting that he's about a minus what 220-ish, 250-ish favorite this week, and then he's only sitting at what is that, 78 cents? Good
78 cents,
good
79
nap
cents.
there. Good nap.
Yes, and he has not really so he opened up much higher and has dropped off a cliff. I feel like this is a perfect nice little buy low spot for the man since he got on prediction strike. They expected much more of him and he hasn't quite lived up to that. But it's kind of like I think this is the next step of somebody like a Tresean Gore, right? Like he's got all the physical tools, he's at a good gym, he's a younger fighter, he's not quite as seasoned. Now he's got the seasoning. Now he's been in the UFC long enough. He's got a good matchup ahead of him. He's a minus 250 favorite. I think he wins the fight. So even if I end up pumping and dumping him, I'll take the stock for right now. We'll decide whether we hang on to him or not later on. Next up, do you have a Shane Burgos lock?
I do not, and I'm intrigued that you're about to buy him here because I kind of like the other side for this weekend. But continue, please.
Ooh. See, this is another one where
He's just stayed steady, right? Like
he
from
has just
he
stayed
has a little
steady.
bump and it just stays steady from there.
You know, now that I'm looking at this and I see the price tag, the $1.74, I think I'm actually going to pass on Shane Burgos. I do think he wins on Saturday. I'm probably going to end up betting him from a personal standpoint, but I thought that it was a cheaper price tag. I thought he was like just over $1 when I first opened up this tab. So I apologize for the tease here, everybody. I'm not going to be purchasing Shane Burgos at that price tag. I think that's a little bit steep for him. And we've seen what happens when he hits the upper echelon of the division, right? Like you can't quite crack past those guys that are above him. So I'm not expecting that price to maybe go much higher than it currently is. And even if he does beat Jourdain, does it go up from 174 from here? I'm not sure I get much value coming back after this particular win. So I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that decision. But I do have one other question for you. Do you have Jack Shorelock?
I don't. Another one where I'm like,
That is one
thinking
I'll
about
take.
the other side here.
I'm going to go ahead and take Jack Shorelock. And it's funny because you and I had a conversation, I want to say about a week ago.
Yes.
We
I
talked
asked you to
about
line
this.
this card and you were
You did. You
surprised.
asked me to line this card.
Or
And
this fight
first
here.
thought, my initial reaction was Ricky Simone. How is he the underdog? Look, I've gone back, I've ran the tape, I've done the numbers. And the more I look at this thing, the more I'm convinced that Jack Shore wins this fight on Saturday. Ricky Simone is going to be at a speed disadvantage. He is incredibly hittable on the feet. I mean, my guy Brian Boom Kelleher looked like Anderson Silva front kicking him in the face the last time they fought. I think Jack Shore is going to have a significant striking advantage in this spot. And the wrestling, while I do favor Ricky Simone, it'll be comparable. Jack Shore will be able to get back to his feet. He'll be able to survive in scrambles. He can probably control Ricky with some body lock. I don't know that he's going to be winning takedowns or getting them himself, but I do see this fight playing out relatively closely. And we've seen the judges are favoring the more exciting fighters that are landing the damaging shots. Let us not forget, fluky as it may have been, Ricky Simone got knocked out by a returning Uriah Faber from retirement. So that is always playing in the back of my head with him that he is hittable, and we've seen him dropped by a guy that really should have had the gloves hanging up. I do think Jack Shore probably gets the win on Saturday after all things considered. So I want to jump on this train while I can because I do think that price tag goes up if he is able to pull off that win. And that'll do it for me, Locke. Those are the moves I got on base here for Fighter Stonks.
Damn. So some moves, making some moves. Surprised that you continue to have capital to back up these purchases that you have almost every week. But then again, you did just recently sell on Tresean Gore, which it hurts, man. Because you're right. You're right. It did look like the momentum was starting to get back into his favor. Stuffed the takedowns, got back up from a takedown, if I'm not mistaken, and then really started to look like Cody Brundage was the one that was huffing and puffing, and Gore was really putting the pressure on there, but he just left himself a little bit open. Gets
Bad
clipped by
adrenaline
Cody
dump, man.
Brundage. Yeah, and I didn't really know Brundage had hands like that. I hit up Mark Montoya after that. I'm like, hey man, apologies for betting against your guy here. You should have told me he had hands. And then he goes, hey, what should I say? What do I need to tell you? I'm like, it is what it is.
That's the funny thing, Locke. I don't think he does have hands. Even after he knocked out Tresean Gore, I still don't think he has hands. He was just throwing this clubbing overhand with everything he had. He happened to time it right when Tresean was, kind of tangled up and had his legs crossed. I'm sorry, that punch doesn't land on anybody else. That punch shouldn't have landed this time. Like I still am not a believer in Cody Brundage, and if they give me another good matchup next time around, I'll try to get my money back on him.
Yeah, and I do just want to quickly address something in the comment section in regards to like the longevity of Fighter Stonks and Prediction Strike itself. It is still somewhat new, right? I believe they've been around for a couple years, or at least maybe a year and a half to 2 years in the MMA space specifically. As more people start to hop on, the more it's going to start to grow. Obviously, with any stock market, essentially, right? But I don't think that it's like one of the. It's just a different way of betting on fights, right? Like my guy Justin, or sorry, Mr. Always Profits says in the comment section here. He's saying it's like if you bet on somebody through Prediction Strike and they lose this weekend, you still have the opportunity of continuing that on with future fights and hoping that they can turn it back around. It's not just a one night thing. Sure, you can have that approach where you have the pump and dump approach, but there are other spots where, like, if you spot out a prospect earlier in their UFC career, you will be able to profit on them long term, especially if you think that they go on to have about top 15, top 10 potential. So that's what it's good for, right? Sink in 100, 200, $250 into a specific fighter. Like a perfect example, and I might go back on this, and this might be one of those midweek or pre event stonks that I buy. But Emily Ducati is one that's kind of on my radar. I haven't done the research on that fight yet, and I intend to do that by the end of the day today. And if I do like it, I might have to put on Twitter with the Prediction Strike and Fighter Stonks hashtag that I'm going to be buying in on Emily Ducati. But that's one of those where if you see the potential in a fighter before their UFC or first UFC fight, or even a one or two UFC fights into their UFC career, and you think they have a long longevity and they have top 10, top 5 potential, you hold on to them, you will be paying out later on in this. So is what it is. All right. Anything you want to drop here on the back end, Clint, and then we'll get out of here. Considering that this is just our Fighter Songs check-in.
Yeah, Locke. I do have one thing that I want to check on real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you have Said Yakub Kakramanov?
Oh, you son of, don't you even do this right now. Hold on. I think I do. Hold on. I might. I bet on this motherfucker and I can't believe
I did too.
I don't. You son of a
yes.
gun.
I'm looking at the chat while you're talking. Thank you, Olawan Dream. Let's go.
And get it right. It's a Olajuwon Dream. Clint, get your NBA skills up above.
No, I have insufficient funds. I got to sell somebody.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, here we go.
Okay, who are you gonna sell? Fucking.
I gotta look at this. Do I sell somebody high, or do I get rid of somebody who I'm not as high on? This is, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of Dana. I'm gonna sell Dana back Gary, sacrifice a little bit of
my guy, Mr. Always Profits, thinks that Kakramanov loses his next fight, so I shouldn't worry. I don't know, man. The guy looked pretty good this past weekend, and I have some high hopes for him. I hate you. I hate you, Olajuwon Dream. I know you appreciate me, but you just helped out Clint as I was trying to wrap this fucking thing up.
Yep. You know what? That was one that slid under the radar for me, man. I saw it and I was like, ooh, no, not deposit. What are you doing? What are you doing?
It should check your capital if it's actually there. If you go to buy, it should say your capital there.
Why is it telling?
Am I gonna have to swoop in and take them from you?
Lock, see, that's not fair though. It's got my account balance at 5. I sold.
Yeah.
How long is it gonna take? Oh shit, wrong button.
It should almost.
How long should it take for this thing to process? Because
you know what, you have so many tabs open. Maybe if you just just close it all up, hit the refresh, and then try it again.
This is what you all signed up for. This is the good shit, the good high quality content that Locke and I bring.
Hey, Prediction Strike better be happy with the promotion. That's all I gotta say.
See, it's saying my account balance is 63 cents. However, it declined my purchase on Said Yakub.
Sign out and then sign back into it. You don't have to share your screen through this. You can just.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna pull off the.
Pull off the screen and then. You know what? Let me just take a quick look at this past event. Then maybe if there's something else that stuck out that I should have taken advantage of. Talk about a guy that really improved his stock this weekend, right? Saeed Jacob Kakramanov goes out there as an underdog, public money coming in on Ronnie Lawrence throughout fight week, and people snipe Kakramanov and end up cashing the plus money, all while making his stock so much goddamn better. Nobody else really there. Like, are we really going to buy stock on Chase Sherman after a somewhat of a comeback victory over Jared Gander?
That's
Probably not.
the big move right there, Lock. Get in on Chase Sherman while you
No, I'm
can.
good. Maybe Anthony Shevchenko after that split decision victory. Nah. Kennedy Nurmagomedov. No. Should we get on the new Magomedov, the African Magomedov? Mr. Always Profit saying a prediction strike vid every week would be dope for Pump and Dump 2. We essentially do Fighter Stonks every week. On every other, so this week and 2 weeks from now will always be on my channel. But on the off weeks, we do it on the Deadlock Podcast channel in the middle of our Deadlock Podcast that we actually do. So make sure you guys go check out the Deadlock Podcast, link in the description below. But yeah, we do Fighter Stonks every week.
All right, Lock. So I've decided to make a tough choice. So what ended up happening is my purchase on Jack Shore took too much capital, and I'm going to roll the dice here. I'm going to give you an opportunity because I am going to sell.
I'm not going to take it anyway.
On King Casey. I got a nice little, return on my purchase on King Casey. And I know she's got some injury issues and things like that going on at the moment. So because her future is uncertain at this point, I will take the profit and sell on her just so I can purchase me some Saeed Yakub.
Oh, you're going to sell.
Damn it. I don't have one to sell, so I don't think it would have let me. Thank you.
It would not have gone through.
Okay. There we go. Now we got some Saeed.
You bastard.
Took forever. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. It's a solid buy. I don't hate it. The guy looked great. Definitely pumped up his stock. Yeah, what is that? 7% over the last week. So good look for him there. Anything you want to say on the back end, or do you want to sneak in another stock here as I'm trying to sign off?
I have no money, Lock. I can't sneak in another stock. I'm going to need to make some tough choices with my current roster of fighters to really just, chop it down here, let go of some people, or sell high on some of these fighters that I've done a really good job with, because I have made a decent amount of profit on some of these fighters, but I do still have some on here that, I probably could stand to let go of. So yeah, just some tough choices coming down the pipe for me on this one.
Yeah, next week I'm probably going to clean house a little bit. There are some guys that I should have let go a little while ago. I'll see if they increase a little bit while this week goes on. But yeah, I want to clear up some space as well. I didn't want to be the Clint, I didn't want to be 15 guys into a portfolio. I wanted to keep my 6 or 7 that I would swap in and out every week. But no, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. All right, that will wrap up our Fighter Stonks check-in segment. As a reminder, please do check out the Deadlock Podcast. That is where we do Fighter Stonks on the off weeks that we don't do it on my channel here. The link to the Deadlock Podcast channel is in the description below. We will be back for the Deadlock Podcast next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Wednesday. So make sure you guys check that out and support your boys over there. We got a lot of fun things in the work that we can't wait to announce to you guys and showcase to you guys. Try to up the numbers over there. We've been doing this podcast for about 6 months now and not where we wanted to be. We definitely felt like it would have been a lot further along at this point in time. So we want to keep the momentum going and possibly even create more momentum with some new things that we got planned and up our sleeves. So truly appreciate you guys as always. Obviously, big shout out to PredictionStrike as well for hosting the Fighter Stonk segment. Once again, make sure you guys use the promo code LOCK and they will give you guys a free Fighter Stonk with a $20 deposit or more. Make sure you guys check it out. Just a different way to gamble on the sport. Trust me, you guys will enjoy it once you guys get into it. All right. For me and Clint, we are out. We will be back next week, like I said, on the Deadlock Podcast. Good luck on your bets this weekend, and don't get caught sleeping. Early card again, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Prelim start time for UFC Long Island. Enjoy yourselves. See you guys next week.
See you guys.